In our lifetime, we absorb facts, information, and skills. We get our theoretical and practical understanding through education and experience. It's called knowledge. Welcome to television's longest running high school quiz show, Knowledge Bowl. Let's join two of our 16 competing Northeast Michigan high schools and our host, Astrid Fitzpatrick, for today's match.
Hello, welcome to Knowledge Bowl, Michigan's longest running quiz show. I'm your host, Astrid Fitzpatrick. Today our game is between Rogers City and Atlanta. We'll begin by introducing our team, starting with Rogers City and starting with their captain.
My name is Bailey Budnick. I'm a senior.
Aaron Rommel, I'm a senior.
Austin Colorite, junior.
Mary Breggy, junior.
Bill Grambo, sophomore.
Taylor Shea, junior.
And they're joined by their coach, Dave Nowak. And our team from Atlanta, starting with their captain.
Cliff Noel, junior. Steven, sophomore.
Abby, freshman.
Timothy, sophomore.
Brianna Gross, junior.
Garrett, junior.
And they're joined by their coach, Jen Colbert. Our first round is a toss-up round, but before we start that, here are the rules.
Round 1 is a toss-up format. A question will be asked and the first competitor to ring in has the opportunity to answer the question. If a correct answer is given, the team is awarded 10 points. No consulting is allowed. If the answer is incorrect, then the question goes to the opposing team to answer.
All right, we'll get right into our first round. Woody Allen directed this fictional 1983 documentary about a man who wants so much to fit in and be accepted he physically changes into the people around him. Identify it. Right, the correct answer was Zelig. Who is credited with the formulation of the law which states that when an electric current is established in a conductor, heat develops in a rate proportional to the square of current intensity? Right, the correct answer was Joule. This constellation can be found by extending a line beginning with the pointer stars of the Big Dipper through the North Star. Located between Andromeda and Aquarius, it is twice as far from the North Star as the Big Dipper. Name it. Oh, Austin?
Major.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Atlanta? Right, the correct answer was Pegasus. Okay, this opera by Benjamin Britten was adapted from a story by Herman Melville, which was in turn based upon an incident aboard an American brig of war. The opera takes place aboard the HMS Indomitable during the French Wars of 1797. The title character is hanged for mutiny. Name the opera. Right, and the correct answer was Billy Budd. What edible treat is obtained from evergreen trees of the genus Theobra, food of the gods? Stephen?
Ambrosia.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Rogers City? Sorry, that's also incorrect. The correct answer was chocolate. The rotating blades were not driven by an engine, but by the forward thrust of the craft. It was invented in Spain and it is often mistaken for an early helicopter. Name this flying machine of the 1920s. The correct answer was the autogyro. Algae makes the Red Sea red. What makes the Yellow Sea yellow? Aaron?
Sediment.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Atlanta? Stephen?
Minerals that are in the water.
Judges? I'm sorry, that's also incorrect. The correct answer was the yellow mud from the adjoining rivers. Grandma Moses was an American artist of the 20th century who painted scenes of farm life. Her style, which seems childlike, is a noted example of what style? And the correct answer was primitivism. According to Amnesty International, executions worldwide more than doubled in 2001 as compared with 2000, driven by a sharp increase in executions in what Asian country? Stephen?
China.
That's correct. After getting complaints from priests and Brothers of the Prince of Peace Abbey in Oceanside, California, city planners withdrew a proposal to open what kind of police facility within 500 yards of the monastery and agreed that the noise could disrupt the monastery's quiet mediation. The correct answer was a firing range. By the year 2010, what disease that currently infects 3 to 4 million Americans, including singer Naomi Judd and actress Pamela Anderson, may infect more people in the U.S. than HIV? Cliff?
Hepatitis C.
That's correct. If the removal of one lamp from a string of Christmas tree lights causes the rest of the lamps to go off, the lamps are connected in what method? Bailey?
Series?
That's correct. In his secret tapes published in 1990, Nikita Khrushchev used which Russian word to describe the needed social and political reconstruction in the USSR? Aaron? Sorry?
Perestroika.
That's correct. What characteristic of the human skeleton allows us to walk upright more comfortably? Stephen?
Our heels.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Roger City? Need to buzz in.
Lumbar.
Aaron? Judges?
What was his answer?
Lumbar.
Spine, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's correct. In the Middle Ages, cats were associated with witchcraft and the devil, and hundreds of thousands were killed by superstitious people. Experts believe the destruction of so many cats led to a huge increase in the rat population and ultimately to what disaster?
Black Death.
Stephen.
The plague.
That's correct. The space shuttle, communications satellites, and the moon all go around the Earth. Which one of those objects has the fastest orbital speed? The correct answer was a space shuttle. The word ostentatious means particularly showy or pretentious. How do you spell ostentatious? Aaron.
Ostentatious.
That's correct. Hawaii is the southernmost of the 50 states. Which state is the northernmost, easternmost, and westernmost? Bailey.
Maine?
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Atlanta? Stephen.
Alaska.
That's correct. What technique used to accumulate all of the available supply in a particular commodity was used by Jay Gould to control gold in 1869 and by the billionaire Hunt brothers to control silver in 1980? Right, the correct answer was cornering the market. What legendary Hollywood mogul, whose name is immortalized in the MGM studio, was famed for saying, in 2 words, impossible? The correct answer was Samuel Goldwyn. How many stanzas are in The Star-Spangled Banner, our national anthem? Aaron?
3.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Atlanta? Stephen?
5.
I'm sorry, that's also incorrect. The correct answer was 4. William Lloyd Garrison called the American Constitution an agreement with hell because the document sanctioned what practice? Aaron?
Slavery.
That's correct. That's all the time we have for our first round. We'll be right back with some scores. All right, welcome back. So far, we got Rogers City with a score of 50 and Atlanta very closely behind with a score of 40. Our second round is the bonus round, but before we start that, here's how that works.
This is the bonus round. It consists of toss-up questions, as in round 1. However, this is the twist. The team answering correctly then gets 4 bonus questions. For each question answered correctly, a series of points will be awarded. Team members can consult, but only the team captain can answer the question. After an incorrect answer, the toss-up portion begins again for both teams.
All right, we'll get right into our second round. What U.S. government agency seized the $70.76 bank account?
Sorry.
Steve? The $70.76 bank account belonging to a 9-year-old Oregon girl named Carmen Fisher in 1987 in an attempt to collect part of a delinquent bill owed by Carmen's grandfather. Aaron?
The IRS.
That's correct. All right, what do you do when you weigh anchor? Oh, this is for Rogers City. Aaron.
Stop and port.
Judges? I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Correct answer was to haul it up. What word in geometry is frequently used interchangeably with postulate and assumption? Bailey. I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Atlanta? Stephen?
Rule.
I'm sorry, that's also incorrect. The correct answer was axiom. Actor Jack Nicholson has portrayed all these roles except frustrated writer, private eye, U.S. president, retired astronaut, or border patrol agent. Stephen?
U.S. President.
That's correct. Okay. And these questions are about the tapir, the animal. What are the tapir's closest relatives?
Pig.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. The correct answer was the horse and the hippopotamus. Okay. 6 U.S. presidents saw military service in the Second World War. Name any 3 of these 6 presidents. Stephen?
Dwight D. Eisenhower. Harry Truman. And John F. Kennedy.
Okay, we got 2 of the 3, so I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Rogers City. Aaron?
Dwight D. Eisenhower, John F. Kennedy, Richard Nixon.
That's correct. Okay, each of the following battles plays a part in a well-known literary work. I'll name the battle and the author, and you name the work. The Bombardment of Fort McHenry by Francis Scott Key. Aaron?
Freaking Star Spangled Banner.
That's correct. Caporetto by Ernest Hemingway.
Could you repeat it?
Caporetto by Ernest Hemingway. Okay, and the correct answer was Farewell to Arms. If I talked of animals in the family Hydrophilidae, would I most likely be concerned with centipedes, water scavenger beetles, or praying mantises? Austin.
Water scavenger beetles.
That's correct. Okay. Which U.S. department issues passports for international travel? Aaron?
Secretary of State.
Yes, that's correct. NOAA, N-O-A-A, is the federal agency created in 1970 to explore and chart the global oceans. What do the letters NOAA stand for? Aaron?
National Oceanographic or American Association.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. The correct answer was the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration. Name the northwesternmost country on the continent of Africa. Aaron?
Morocco.
That's correct. Okay, who asked these memorable questions? Is life so dear or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Aaron?
Abraham Lincoln.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. The correct answer was Patrick Henry. Which family of plants is found most exclusively in the New World? Is it Mongolia, lily, cactus, pine, or willow? Aaron?
Cactus.
That's correct. Okay, and these are game shows. How many answers are stashed away in the Jeopardy board at any time? Aaron?
30.
That's correct. The focus of what quiz show was not clever questions, but the wit of comedian host Groucho Marx? The correct answer was You Bet Your Life. This owner of a Texas-based hobby store chain bought Boston-based Radio Shack in 1963. Can you name him? The correct answer was Charles Tandy. Shakespeare did not write a play about which of the following monarchs? Henry V, Henry VI, Henry VII, or Henry VIII? Cliff?
Henry VII.
That's correct. Okay. In the following sentences, identify the word or phrase that is a direct object, predicate adjective, predicate adverb, or predicate nominative, and tell which it is. A picture is a poem without words. The correct answer was poem, and it's a predicate nominative. Which isotope of hydrogen is the most promising fuel for fusion reactions? The correct answer was deuterium. Two Indian groups of Mexico and Central America developed advanced civilizations that included written languages and large cities. Name them. Austin?
Aztec and Maya.
That's correct. Okay. Identify the authors of these famous quotations. The Chinese philosopher who wrote, "To see what is right and not to do it is cowardice." Austin?
Confucius.
That's correct. The Renaissance Italian statesman who wrote, "It is much more safe to be feared than to be loved." Aaron?
Niccolo Machiavelli.
That's correct. Identify the 18th century English historian who said, "I have recorded the triumphs of barbarianism and religion." The correct answer was Edward Gibbon. All right, and that's all the time we have for our second round. We'll be right back with some updated scores. Welcome back. So far, we've got Rogers City with a score of 140 and Atlanta with a score of 60. We're also joined by alternates on Rogers City's side, Phil Grambo, and on Atlanta's side by Garrett Pinson and Brianna Gross. Our next round is the 60-second round, but before we start that, here are the rules.
This is our 60-second round. The team with the lowest score selects from one of the 4 categories of 10 questions. The team that has 60 seconds to answer as many questions as possible. Each correct answer is worth 10 points. Any missed questions will then be answered by the opposing team. An additional 20-point bonus is awarded for answering all 10 questions correctly.
All right, we'll start our next round with Atlanta, who's chosen the category Civics. What is the central issue of the 15th, 19th, and 26th Amendments?
Voting rights.
That's correct. Under what conditions may a religious test be required as a qualification for public office in the United States?
None.
That's correct. You may not have your lawyer present when you are testifying before what kind of jury?
A closed jury.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. What political party gained its reputation as social caretaker during the Depression?
Democrats.
That's correct. What 10-letter noun means all the voters taken together?
Popular.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. What method of nominating people to public office involves a meeting of party delegates?
Pass.
Okay. What word is used by a prisoner? Right. Rogers City. You may not have your lawyer present when you are testifying before what kind of jury?
We just pass. Pass.
What 10-letter noun means all the voters taken together? Okay. And what method of nominating people to public office involves a meeting of party delegates?
A carcass. Caucus.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Next category was Europe. I'll give you a starting point and name a direction. You tell me the next country you will enter by following my direction. You begin in Lisbon, Portugal, and head due west.
United States.
That's correct. You begin in Brussels, Belgium, and head due south.
France.
That's correct. You begin in Athens, Greece, and head due east.
Turkey.
That's correct. You begin in Helsinki, Finland, and head due north.
Norway.
That's correct. You begin in Kiev, Ukraine, and head due east.
Belarus.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. You begin in Copenhagen, Denmark, and head due south.
Germany.
That's correct. You begin in Liverpool, England, and head due east.
Norway.
Sorry, that's incorrect. You begin in Barcelona, Spain, and head due north.
France.
That's correct. You begin in Hague, the Netherlands, and head due south. In Atlanta, you begin in Kiev, Ukraine, and head due east.
Russia.
That's correct. And you begin in Liverpool, England, and head due west.
Ireland.
That's correct. Right, and that's it for our 60-second round. We'll be right back with some updated scores. Welcome back. So far, we've got Rogers City in the lead with a score of 200, and Atlanta following closely behind with 110. Our last round is a toss-up round, just like the first round, so we'll get started in that. Express the number 4 in binary digits. Right, the correct answer was 100. What 2 U.S. states share a border with both Mississippi and Georgia? Stephen?
North and South Carolina.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Rogers City? Aaron?
Florida and Tennessee.
I'm sorry, that's also incorrect. The correct answer was Tennessee and Alabama. At what point on the Earth would Polaris be directly overhead? Stephen?
The North Pole.
That's correct. Why is the event known to Russia as the October Revolution called the November Revolution in the West? Stephen?
Because due to time zone differences, they were on different months.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Rogers City? Right, it's because Russia was using the old Julian calendar in 1917. 2 minutes after his 1981 inaugural, President Reagan spotted a presidential nameplate in the House Speaker's office and exclaimed, "I played him in the movies." Tip O'Neill then corrected him, "No, you didn't. You played a famous baseball pitcher." Name this 19th century president and the pitcher named for him. The correct answer was Grover Cleveland, and Grover Cleveland Alexander. What simple adjustment to your car that takes less than 5 minutes at a service station can increase fuel efficiency up to 5%? Cliff?
Higher pressure.
That's correct. In what style of American architecture will you find houses with turrets, stained glass windows, and gingerbread decorations? Austin?
Gothic.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Atlanta? In what style of American architecture will you find houses with turrets, stained glass windows, and gingerbread decorations? The correct answer was Victorian. What is the first adjective found in the lyrics of the song, I've been working on the railroad? Aaron?
Long.
Judges? I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Atlanta?
Working. Oh, working.
No, I'm sorry, that's also incorrect. The correct answer was live long. Lying on the road between Egypt and Babylonia, this strategic area has been one of the most contested territories in history. Garrett?
Gaza Strip.
That's correct. Latin for what? It's British slang for a sovereign or 1 pound sterling. What's the word? Aaron?
Quid.
That's correct. The chief aim of the 1815 Hartford Convention was to revise what document? Aaron?
Constitution.
That's correct. Which of these films would not be considered a tearjerker? Ghost, Ordinary People, Sophie's Choice, Mask, or A Night at the Opera? Stephen?
Mask.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Roger City? Aaron?
Ghost.
I'm sorry, that's also incorrect. The correct answer was A Night at the Opera. Empress Carlotta of Mexico was the only daughter of which country's first king, Leopold I? The correct answer was Belgium. In his first draft of the Gettysburg Address, Abraham Lincoln wrote, We here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation shall have a new birth of freedom. Lincoln would later add 2 words to his speech following this nation, 2 words which would also be added to a famous spoken statement 100 years later. What are they? Garrett?
Under God.
That's correct. What famous 19th century American author wrote a letter which states about African Americans, "We have ground the manhood out of them, and the shame is ours, not theirs, and we should pay for it"? The correct answer was Mark Twain. What is the common logarithm of 100,000? Garrett?
100 grand.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Roger City? The correct answer was 5. NASA's installation in Pasadena, California is called what? The correct answer was the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Winner of the 1982 Pulitzer Prize for Fiction, this was the 3rd novel in a series about the same character. Name the book. The correct answer was Rabbit is Rich by John Updike. During the Christmas holiday period, prices often rise because of a demand created by more shoppers buying. After Christmas, these same prices often drop. These price variations are not caused by inflation, so to apply them to the Consumer Price Index would be misleading. What is the name given to adjustments made in price indices that take account of regular, predictable, usually annual changes in the cost of living that is not the result of long-term inflationary trends? But the correct answer was seasonal adjustment. And that's all the time we have for our last round. We'll be right back with some updated scores. All right, welcome back. Our final scores are Atlanta with 150 and Rogers City with a score of 220. So congratulations to Rogers City, our winners for today. Join us next week when we'll have Rogers City versus Tawas. And I'll leave you with a quote by Carl Jung, knowledge lies not in truth alone, but in error also. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's why they put the little erasers on pencils. Have a good day.